Hey everyone, Koala here with the top 5 best heroes in Overwatch. These are the most badass, useful, and ridiculous heroes you can expect to get your hands on in spring of 2016. First up at number 5, we've got Symmetra. The reason I love Symmetra so much is because she's not a frontline hero. Instead, she sits on the back line supporting the team. She provides shields to help the team out, giving them that extra 50 points of damage mitigation, which can really help in a pinch. She also creates nests of annoyingly deadly sentries that damage and slow enemy targets, leaving them vulnerable and ready to be picked. Placed around corners and behind objects in areas the enemy usually runs through, they provide area control and movement denial. They're also used to guard her number 1 most useful ability, the Teleporter. A game-changing ultimate that allows up to 6 teammates to pass through from spawn to a strategic point on the map, the Teleporter gets the team back into the fight extremely quickly and is nearly invaluable in almost any composition or situation. Symmetra's a fragile hero though with 150 health, and her weapons make her less than ideal for frontline fighting. However, in close range her primary fire can be lethal as it ramps up the damage the longer it's focused on a target. Her alternate fire can pass through shields, being very harmful to heroes such as Zarya and Reinhardt, and especially stationary targets like Bastion or a troublesome Torbjorn turret. At number 4, we've got Junkrat. He's a relatively high skill cap hero, and mastering the arcing of his nades and the cunning use of his concussion mine and steel trap can make him an extremely deadly problem for the enemy. And speaking of the concussion mine, it can be used to jump around the map. Easy enough, right? But true mastery of the ability will allow skilled Junkrat players to not only reach high up places, but project themselves in various directions while firing his weapon to become a very hard target to hit. Combining this with his steel trap that snares people for 3 seconds, which is a ridiculous amount of time in Overwatch by the way, can make for some crazy combo kills that will probably leave his targets screaming at their screens. When pulled off correctly, the mine jump to trap escape combo can get him out of a sticky situation while leaving his enemies right where he wants them. Even though he's classified as a defensive hero, Junkrat can be played offensively as well, however he can be very vulnerable if his abilities are on cooldown, so timing is the key. One of my favorite things about Junkrat is his ultimate. Riptire can easily be womboed with other heroes' abilities and ultimates and is fantastic for clearing an area, a group of enemies, or stationary targets like turrets and sentries. Coming in at number 3 is Genji. There are 2 things that set Genji apart from the rest of the heroes. He has the highest mobility and flanking potential in the game, and he is very effective at any range. His primary fire does large amounts of damage and fires rapidly with no damage drop-off, and even has a spread shot alternative fire. That's good for just about any situation. His wall climb, double jump, and dash mean that Genji can get almost anywhere and escape from just about any sticky situation save for an enclosed space where his mobility is limited. His deflect ability is defensive in nature, but when used with skill can actually be remarkably effective, reflecting any projectile in whatever direction he wants, including projectile-based ultimates like Zarya's Gravity Surge and McCree's Deadeye. His ultimate turns Genji into a sword-wielding death machine, and combined with his rapid mobility makes it one of the strongest direct damage ultimates available. I've seen entire teams cut down by a well-timed Genji ultimate, and the fact that he's so hard to hit while executing his movement abilities makes this especially terrifying. He has a decent health pool sitting at 200 HP, so not the tankiest of heroes, and he can be very vulnerable in tight spaces or when his dash is on cooldown, which to me is the only real downside to this extremely fast, extremely deadly hero. Looking at the tank class heroes and deciding who belongs on the list was a challenge. Ultimately, D.Va won the day, coming in at number 2 with that harassment playstyle, mobility options, defensive capabilities, and her mech's attributes and ultimate. Her boost is very useful in getting her in and out of combat, helping to avoid bad situations, and even providing a knockback and slight damage to enemies, keeping them off their game. And it's true, her dual fusion cannons don't have the best damage outside of maybe a 5-meter radius, but getting in close and finding that sweet spot can absolutely melt enemies. And they don't even have to be reloaded. D.Va effectively has 650 HP between her in-mech and out-of-mech states, and that pulse pistol is much more powerful than it looks, making her a fragile but lethal hero inside or out of the machine. Her ulti has excellent wombo potential with anyone's ability to hold the enemy in place, like Zarya or Mei for example. Even if it's not combined with other abilities, the area denial can mean the difference in a win or a loss when used at just the right time. She can even pop her ultimate while she's ejecting from the mech, granting her another mech instantly. And the best attribute to D.Va is the defense matrix. This thing is ridiculous. It completely nullifies any projectile in its radius, including ultimates, for 3 seconds. Pharah ult? Denied. Reaper ult? Denied. Deadeye? Nope. Denied. The list goes on, and it's probably the single most useful defensive ability in the game. And finally, the #1 hero in Overwatch is Torbjorn. Just kidding, it's actually Lucio. But seriously, I can't find anything wrong with this guy. He's got a semi-passive heal with a wide LOS-based area, allowing for more aggression in a support playstyle. Amping up the heal can mitigate a huge amount of damage on his teammates, saving lives and denying plays. His speed boost is crucial on attack runs and flanking plays, as well as just plain getting people back into the fight quicker. It can even be used defensively to get people out of AoE abilities or to dart around enemies, making the team very hard to hit. His wall skating is a thing of beauty when executed correctly and can be used to get up to hard to reach places, get around enemy defenses, and dodge enemy fire. Besides that, it's just plain cool to watch Lucio skate around on walls. His primary fire, appropriately nicknamed the Wub Wub gun, hits like a truck, especially when all 4 hit the same target. His alt fire not only knocks enemies back, but can finish off low health targets and goes great combined with a melee to the face right before it's used. His abilities and heals make him powerful enough to be the sole support on the team, and he really shines when there's another, more direct healer on the field. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, his 500-point shield that degrades slowly over time is insane and can make a push on the enemy team or objective a breeze. Sweet heals, enough damage to keep up with most classes, and mobility for days. Lucio pretty much does it all. And that's it for the top 5 best heroes in Overwatch. Tell me what you guys think down below in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.
Hello citizens, AWOL here, bringing you our top 5 heroes we're the most excited about for Blizzard's upcoming first-person shooter, Overwatch. This is Blizzard's first new IP in almost 2 decades. And as you know from previous franchises being insanely successful, like Diablo, Warcraft, and StarCraft, it's all about gameplay, #1, and #2, iconic heroes. We're going to talk about our favorites based on our 3 hours of gameplay that we experienced at Blizzard HQ. The development team and community team walked us through the logic behind most of these heroes, and I'll bring some of that to you here in this video. Really quick before we get into it, we're doing a really cool giveaway for the community who is hyped about Overwatch. This package includes a Battle.net gift card, Overwatch merchandise, a signed poster by the Overwatch development team, and a PAX pin. 3 of these bundles are available, and there's a link below if you want to enter to win the Fall 10th bundle. Let's get into the heroes.
Death comes.
Coming in at number 5 is Hanzo, a defense role hero that is a Japanese assassin from the Shimada clan. Yeah, he's using a bow and arrow in a near-future sci-fi universe, and that bow and arrow requires a lot of skill to master. His storm bow left clicks do lots of damage, even at long range. He also has a sonic arrow that allows him to shift then left click, revealing enemies within a particular area, making you even more effective at defending. He can quickly climb up walls. Your scatter arrow allows you to kill people in relatively close range to you, even in hallways, shoot at people's feet. The arrow scatters, fragmenting to do extra damage, but most importantly, the rest of the kit aside, Dragon Strike is the coolest ultimate in all of Overwatch. Out of the front of your bow, you fire 2 giant dragons that go in a frontal cylinder through the rest of the entire map. Anybody who stands inside of this dragon for its full duration will die. It doesn't matter how tanky you are, it doesn't matter how much HP you have, the developers confirmed it will kill anyone. And most importantly with this ultimate, and I think Pally-Time will agree, the T-Rex sound that happens when you fire it is so iconic, it's so eye-catching. It's just a blast to use this ultimate. Coming in at number 4 is Soldier 76. I know we might receive a little flack for picking this one, but we are coming to the aid of Soldier 76, who is more or less a generic soldier hero in this game. but that is absolutely necessary considering that the rest of the roster is all crazy. There's a giant gorilla scientist, there's ninja assassins from Japan, there's a robot that turns into a turret that loves nature. You need a generic soldier character in the game, and he is really good and really fun. His heavy pulse rifle, left click, has literally no recoil. It's a blast to use, very effective at medium, even at long range. Your helix rockets, right click, can clear out a hallway and do AoE damage. Your sprint is one of the only movement abilities in the game that you can use non-stop. You even have a AoE heal. You drop down a biotic field on the ground on your E, it heals you and your allies. But most importantly and most controversially is his ultimate tactical visor. It's literally auto-aim. I know, it's literally auto-aim. But in our experience in gameplay, and also talking with the developers, 1 out of 5 times we used auto-aim or tactical visor, it was effective. It's really difficult to actually connect with people because it's hard countered if somebody just moves out of your field of vision. This ultimate is most effective in tight hallways. You can actually go commando style and clear out an entire hallway like Arnold Schwarzenegger if everybody's packed in tight because you nail everyone with your entire magazine. Remember that robot I was talking about earlier that likes nature? Yeah, that's Bastion, coming in at number 3. He is a game-changing hero. He literally, and we confirmed this over dinner with the developers, literally does the most damage in the entire game in his configuration sentry. Really quick, you have configuration recon, you left click, you have an assault rifle, and you move around relatively slow. Then your configuration sentry, which is basically god tier mode, you have a frontal shield, and you do the most damage in the entire game with an automatically firing minigun of sorts. It's incredible. You can then reconfigure, you can move about the map, you can self-repair, and your ultimate is very fun, but very, very difficult to master. It is configuration tank, and you essentially turn into the Landmaster from Star Fox, allowing you to be mobile, most importantly, and fire these blasts that do massive damage in an AoE. But the main reason why we're excited about Bastion is every time one team picked Bastion, that had to become the center of focus. It's a stationary target that has extra HP because of that shield and can take your entire team down relatively quickly. You have to focus on Bastion. So if you pick up Bastion, you're going to be the center of focus, you're going to get lots of action, and that's exciting. Coming in at number 2 is Reinhardt. Arguably, he could be number 1 for us. It's pretty freaking close. He is a tank, and he is unstoppable, and he is German. He is such a blast. His rocket hammer left clicks actually do a significant amount of damage and can damage anyone within the area of you swinging this giant hammer. Your shield, arguably your most effective move, you right click and you get 2,000 extra HP. Just to give you some perspective on that, as a tank character in this game, you have 500 HP. Plus 2,000 equals 2,500. You're essentially 5 tanks. Your charge on your shift allows you to move forward rapidly, however you don't have much control or going left or right, and you can insta-kill someone. If you end up connecting with them, they will end up becoming attached to you, and you slam them against the wall, instantaneously exploding their faces. Any character that is a squishy will be one-shot with that. Tanks, it'll take off the majority of your health. Your Fire Strike on your E is your only ranged attack. It pierces, so it goes through people and hits targets behind them, and it does a massive amount of damage. But one thing to note about this, it is relatively slow, so it is kind of hard to hit with it. And your Earth Shatter ultimate is basically a frontal cone that knocks everybody to the ground and enables them to be victim to your Fire Strike and then to get charged, and your Rocket Hammer. It's a great setup, one of the best setups in the entire game actually, for other people to wombo combo their ultimates on top of it. The thing that was the most exciting about playing Reinhardt is that he controls the action. When that giant shield goes up in front of the enemy team or your team, that is the center of the entire positioning game and the entire positioning meta that's happening on any given map. You can actually pick up multiple of a particular hero in this game right now, and so the enemy team, the developers, were picking multiple Reinhardts, and so they were going back to back, creating like this phalanx type of solution on top of a defensive point, making it nearly impossible to penetrate. The potential with Reinhardt to not only be the ultimate defensive character, but also a very aggressive offensive character with his Earth Shatter as well as his charge just make him exciting, especially for new players who may not be good at dodging and what have you. That's okay, just jump in there with tons of HP and get in the action. If you combine Death itself with Neo from the Matrix, Reaper would be the end result. This character is just flat out cool. He's an offense role character with an unknown name, an unknown base of operations, an unknown affiliation, and he just doesn't really seem to care about anything but killing people. That's awesome. Yeah, Reaper is my number one pick. It's my personal favorite, and I scooted him up to the top of the list. Deal with it. He is a dual-wielding Hellfire shotgun badass. Those left clicks fire relatively slow though, so you're gonna need to get in position with your Wraith form. You basically turn into this death mist. With your shift, you're invulnerable during that period of time, and you can scoot in and out of positioning to get behind people preferably, and shoot them with your shotguns in the face, relatively insta-killing squishies, and about 2 or 3 shots to the head, any tank in the game is gonna go down. But how do you get in positioning to use this slow Wraith form? That's Shadow Step, and really Shadow Step is the entire secret sauce of Reaper. You can teleport from your current location to any location you can see in front of you, but it goes real slow. So you have to know these maps backward and forward so that you can Wraith form in and get kills and get the hell out. You're about as close to an actual assassin in this game as it comes. Your ultimate Death Blossom in the gameplay demos that were released, it makes it look like Death Blossom insta-kills anyone that's around you when you go Matrix Neo focus. You don't insta-kill people, but it is very dangerous. One thing to bear in mind with your Death Blossom ultimate is that, yeah, you're doing tons of damage, but man, you can get killed very easily, and when you're planning to wade into a pack of enemies, that means that there's a pack of enemies ready to wade into you with their full rate of fire. Your HP is somewhere between a squishy and a tank. You're at about 300 HP at the current time. That's not enough to keep you up and running for longer than 2 seconds. So when you use your ultimate, just like when you do anything else with this character, you do it sneaky style and you get some really fun kills, especially when you get that play of the game. People will hate your Reaper if you're good at flanking them. We're just getting started with our Overwatch coverage here on TGN as well as Squadron, and I'm covering this game on my personal channel, AWOL Versus. There's going to be some links below to our additional Overwatch content, my personal channel. These videos are coming non-stop. And don't forget to enter to win our sweepstakes for that sick Fall 10th Overwatch bundle. I'm super hyped for this game. I hope you guys are too, namely because Blizzard has a great legacy of making solid IPs and then building them over time. I'm hoping Overwatch is the next big success story like Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo. Thanks for watching, friends. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.